My name is Detective Michael Harrow, Badge 1732, Oregon State Police Homicide Division, 22 years on the force. I've worked cartel murders, domestic massacres, dismemberments that still haunt the rookies. I thought I'd seen every way the world could rot a soul. I was wrong. The call came on an overcast Tuesday, the kind of morning where the clouds hang like bruises over the sky. A woman walking her golden retriever near the cliffs of Blackridge Hill, remote, rocky, not a place anyone really goes, reported that her dog had returned from the brush carrying something strange in its mouth. It was a leg, or rather what was left of one. Pale sun-dried flesh clung in leathery strips to a femur no longer than my forearm. You know how you can feel a thing is wrong before your mind catches up? That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just a body, this was a beginning. We sealed off the hill and brought in the forensics team. We assumed we were dealing with an accidental death or an animal attack until we uncovered the rest of her. She'd been placed deliberately, almost lovingly. Her bones had been arranged in a spiral radiating outward from a central stone. Her skull, bleached and cracked, sat perched on a flat rock-stained black with something that wasn't blood anymore, but had been. Then we saw the altar. It wasn't just a flat stone. It was carved deep with symbols, not painted or scratched, but burned into the surface. The grooves were charred and warm to the touch, as though they'd been freshly seared, but there were no signs of a fire. 5 markings, unfamiliar and wrong. They seemed to shift slightly when you weren't looking directly at them. One of the forensic techs started coughing blood the moment she tried to sketch them. She quit the next day and hasn't spoken a word since. The girl had no ID, no fingerprints in any database. No clothing, just fragments of a decayed white gown, lace and burlap, like a child's christening dress left too long in the ground. Her bones were scored with hundreds of tiny knife marks, not deep enough to kill, but meant to hurt. Her mouth had been sewn shut with wire. The medical examiner said it looked like she was still alive when it was done. We thought it had to be some kind of cult. Called in the FBI's ritual crimes unit, and even they were disturbed. One agent looked at the photos, went pale, and asked to speak to a priest. Another said something I still think about. These aren't symbols, they're instructions. That's when the noises started. The lab techs reported hearing footsteps when working on the case files. Wet footsteps, like someone walking barefoot through blood. One officer swore he heard a little girl humming "Ring Around the Rosie" while he cataloged evidence. We wrote it off as nerves. Then Ramirez had the dream. He said he was back at the altar, but it was night. There were children standing around the stones, hands clasped, heads tilted too far to the side. One of them stepped forward. It was the girl. Her eyes were hollow. Her lips moved, but she made no sound. Then her mouth opened, wire still intact, and something crawled out. A shadow with too many limbs. Ramirez was never the same. Started drinking, said the girl came to him every night, whispered things through her teeth. Names, dates, faces of people not yet dead. He disappeared 4 weeks later. His truck was found at the base of the cliff. Doors open, engine still running. The inside was clawed with scratch marks from the inside out. He left a note on the dash. Just one word: listen. I kept the case open, obsessively. Every missing girl report in the Pacific Northwest. Every ritual site. Nothing matched. She had no past, no history, no name. It was like she'd been given to us by the hill. And then things got worse. The trees near the site began to twist, branches curling into spirals that mirrored the altar carvings. Birds wouldn't go near the area. One ranger found a fox curled up in the center of the altar, dead but perfectly preserved, eyes wide open, staring at the sky. The same day, our surveillance cameras failed. Well, one frame survived. 3:09 a.m. Motion triggered. A tall figure, hairless, bent backward like its spine was broken. Its mouth was open wide, wider than possible. The next frame, static. The tech who processed the image had a seizure the moment he printed it, bit through his tongue. He's catatonic now, screams when it rains. We sent the image to the FBI. The file was corrupted beyond repair when they opened it. Every copy we made vanished from our servers within 24 hours. Something didn't want us remembering. I went back to Blackridge Hill one last time. I had to. I had to see if I missed something. I brought a priest, a good man. Never said a word during the drive, but when we arrived, he turned to me and said, "Whatever was buried here, it wanted to be found." We found the altar again. It had been rebuilt, stones perfectly balanced, symbols etched deeper than before, glowing faintly in the overcast light. I swear the air rattled, and on top of the center stone a small object had been placed. Not a tooth this time, a finger, delicate, child-sized, still wet. I turned to ask the priest what he made of it, and he was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just gone. His body was found 3 days later in his locked church, kneeling, mouth sewn shut. That was 5 years ago. The case is officially closed. No viable leads, no suspect, no resolution. The higher-ups told me to let it go. I tried. God knows I tried. I retired last year, moved far from Oregon. I haven't told anyone this, but the dreams didn't stop. She comes to me now, the girl, not decomposed, rebuilt, skin stitched together from shadows, eyes like pits of oil. She never speaks, but behind her something moves, something older than language. She points at the altar, and then at me. I woke up last night with dirt under my nails. My shoes were muddy, the taste of iron on my tongue. I began losing time. I'd blink and the clock would jump forward 6 hours. I'd black out in my kitchen and wake up in the woods behind my apartment, barefoot, the leaves whispering my name. Every mirror in my house began distorting my reflection. My face, almost right. But my eyes were black pits. My mouth never moved in sync. I tried recording myself, audio, video. Nothing ever captured what I remembered. Sometimes there'd be static, sometimes a whisper I couldn't translate. Once I played the tape backward and heard something laugh. My fridge started to stink. I cleaned it, scrubbed it with bleach. Still smelled like rotting meat. Then I noticed the scratches on my arms, not claw marks, symbols, faint outlines of the same carvings from the altar. New ones appeared every morning, as if something was using me for practice. It stopped sleeping, lost 30 pounds. My teeth began to ache like they were loosening. I pulled one in a fevered haze. It crumbled in my fingers, rotten at the root, filled with something black and moving. Then the whispers began, not just in my head, around me, in vents, in drains, in the space between floorboards. I heard my own voice saying things I'd never said. I heard the girl, closer now, breathing behind doors that should have been empty. 3 nights ago, I woke up at the edge of my bed, arms raised, hands holding something invisible. I was humming, a lullaby. When I came to, my entire apartment was filled with dirt, no sign of how it got there. The next day, it was gone, as if it never happened. Tonight, I felt it. Something changed. I had a bad feeling, a deep, wet certainty in my gut. I went to the garage. My car was parked as usual, but the trunk was open. At first, I thought it was just another blackout. Maybe I left it open last night. But then I smelled it, the same stink that came from the hill, and my fridge. I stepped closer, heart in my throat, already knowing. Inside the trunk, lying like she'd been tucked in for sleep, was a girl. Her skin was pale and waxy, stitched with symbols. Eyes wide open, teeth bared behind wire. Her skull partially decomposed, except I knew that face. I'd seen it once, in a missing person flyer from a town 2 states over. A case that had been closed with presumed runaway. That flyer had disappeared from my desk months ago, but it was her. And next to her body, placed like an offering, was a photograph. Old black and white, edges curled. A snapshot of me, standing on Blackridge Hill, smiling, holding her hand.